we're gonna run you through a little bit more information about the course and tell you what we kind of are hoping to see in applications. You're then gonna hear from Heather, who's one of the apprentices on the programme this year, and she'll tell you a bit about her experiences, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. So I'm going to hand over and we're going to get started.
Cool. So just to introduce ourselves, my name's Anjali. I have been, oh, you can't hear anything. Yeah, so I've been working on Charity Apprentice for almost 3 years now, and my role is to support our apprentices. So if our apprentices are struggling with anything or needs extra help with fundraising, I am always here and happy to chat with you. And this is Ruth, who is the Charity Apprentice Manager. So she basically deals with all the experts who contribute to the course, and yeah, runs the whole thing. So we both work at the International Development Child.org, which you can see here. So Child.org is a charity, and we work in sub-Saharan Africa. Most of our work is in Kenya. So yeah, we've been running the course since 2015.
Okay, so I'm going to run you through what the course for 2018 looks like. We've been busy kind of plotting and planning over the last couple of weeks, and we'll continue to do so over the next few months to make sure that there is 10 months worth of really exciting, engaging, up-to-date, relevant content for you to engage with. So the course outline goes month by month. There's a different subject every month, and we're bringing in something new this year. So each month we'll have what we're going to call essential content. So stuff that we think you have to know if you're going to have a really successful career in the for-purpose sector. And there'll also be optional material. So that's, you know, if you just absolutely love events and you need to know more about it, there'll be optional content on it for you to sort of explore. And, you know, if you get to social enterprise and it's just really not your thing, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do as much on it. So hopefully that means that course participants in 2018 can have a little bit more flexibility in the course and be able to sort of personalize it more to their interests and their strengths. So I'm going to take you through it. The whole course is designed to equip you with the skills and the knowledge that you need to, one, decide what kind of path or what kind of role you might like to go into, or find out a little bit more about the sector, and also to understand a little bit more about how you can make more impact. So this isn't just about pumping out workers for different charities or social enterprises or ethical businesses. It's about making sure that we're pumping out the most effective, most impact-driven people to improve how the sector works and to ensure that we're tackling the world's most pressing challenges in the best ways that we can. So the whole course is kind of structured is structured around specific skills. So each month we have different experts who come on board and help us with the content. They'll also be running webinars for you. We'll have interviews with them and opportunities for you to talk to them in a bit more detail to find out what they do and what it's like to work in any one of these areas. So kicking off with January, the course starts on January the 8th. We'll be talking about, we'll be introducing you to everything. So that's the course, that's the platform, the online platform that you will gain access to if you gain a spot on Charity Apprentice. You'll get to kind of navigate it and spend some time working out what's what on that platform, and we'll introduce you to the sector more broadly. So that's giving you a really broad kind of overview of what charity and social change kind of work looks like. Into February, we start on events. So events are like a huge part of a lot of charity work, and being able to run an event and having that kind of skill set is really important to nearly every single job. So we start with events. We'll do a little bit about looking at successful events that have happened in the sector, and we'll also look at things like celebrity endorsement, celebrity relationships, and how that increases an organisation's profile. And then we have the first boot camp. So boot camp is a residential 2 days in London, and we book out a venue and we book out a hostel, and you come and join us for a weekend. It's optional, you don't have to attend, but it is probably the highlight of the course. You come along, it's absolutely shattering, but it's really, really good fun. You get to meet each other, you get to meet us and the rest of the Child.org team. You get to meet experts. We'll have kind of a program of various different talks and kind of hack sessions for you to like really get your teeth into particular areas that you might be interested in. There's lots of challenges. It's really, really good fun. We recommend it. So part of that boot camp in February will be helping you to plan your first challenge. So the course, as you'll hear a little bit more later, is split into online content and offline kind of real life practical challenges. So the first challenge is for you to organise an event. We give you lots of support around this, so it doesn't matter if you've never done one before. People organise incredible events and they've never done one before, so it's a really good way to kind of build up your skills. The boot camp will make sure that there's time blocked into the boot camp to help you really crack that event, to work out what you need to do, when you need to do it by, etc. So that's February. So let's move on to March, and we're going to look at communications. Again, an absolute staple for any organisation you could ever possibly work with or be involved with. During communications, we'll go through things like social media, we'll go through media and press, we'll go through branding, and various different other kind of communications areas. And you'll have an opportunity to try those kind of things out. Do some press releases on your event, etc., and build up your skills there. So March also sees a couple of hack days, so they're at the end of the month, and hack days are 1 day long kind of intensive sessions where you take an issue and you problem solve it. So for our hack days, you'll be doing your events, so you'll each be able to come along with your event and you spend a solid amount of time looking at it. So by the end of the day, you should have an Eventbrite page up, you should have a venue booked, you should have publicity designed and printed. It's really, really quick, and we kind of facilitate that process. They're really good fun. The hack days will be across the country. We can't say where until we know where all the apprentices are, and then we'll work out kind of what the best cities are for everyone to get to. April, so there'll be another hack day in April as well, but still on events. And April, you look at activism, campaigning, and social movements. So this is looking at how change happens. So it's a bit of, we'll do a bit of history. We'll look at how kind of social movements have been successful in the past, things like the abolition of slavery or women's rights, women voting, etc., like suffrage in the UK. We'll kind of look at those and try to pinpoint, okay, what about this was successful, what made it good, and then we'll kind of flip to 2017, 2018 and look at kind of social change initiatives today. And again, we'll have various different organisations that come in to support that. So generally with campaigning, Amnesty International comes in, who are probably the biggest campaigning organisation in the world. Where are we? May. So May, we do the flip side. So activism and campaigning is very much like everyday people making a change on issues they care about. May, we'll look at lobbying, policy and research. So this is about how do you get governments to change things for the better. So we'll look at think tanks in this. We'll do a case study on a kind of big policy issue at the moment, probably likely to be on refugees, because that's a very big area in the policy world right now. Again, you'll get an opportunity to do a bit of lobbying yourself. Into June. So June is on fundraising. Now, obviously, fundraising is a massive, massive part of the charity sector. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't exist. So we will kind of go through all the different types of fundraising. So that will be things like challenge fundraising, legacy fundraising, trusts and foundations. We'll do major donors. We'll do the whole lot and give you a taster of each. And you'll also get your kind of second brief. So this is your second challenge. So every year we task apprentices with doing a fundraising challenge. Now, one, it's good practice to fundraise, and any job application you might want to do is you'll be expected to be able to demonstrate a time that you have fundraised. Secondly, it's a great opportunity to develop kind of a whole range of different skills, one of them being volunteer management. So we don't just want you to raise money, we want you to inspire and galvanise a group of people around you, and together go off and do a challenge. And obviously one person can raise X amount, but 5 people can raise even more. So we're going to be supporting you to work out how do you motivate a team, how do you manage a team to achieve something really awesome. This year we've had some absolutely fantastic fundraising challenges, so the bar is high. July, so we're going to be looking at social enterprise. These social enterprises are businesses that earn money in the same way that any other business does, and they put it to social good, or their kind of business model itself is structured around social good. So we'll be looking at what does it mean to be a social enterprise, what are the pros and cons. We'll have some interviews with some social entrepreneurs, and you might even get to do your own pitch if you have a budding idea for a new social enterprise. August, we're going to look at international development and aid. It's quite a big month, it's quite a big topic, but we'll be looking at the positives and the challenges of aid and development. We'll be looking at the SDGs, there'll be lots of interviews. This is usually quite a popular month, quite a lot of people want to go and work in the sector, so we'll look at international volunteering and kind of other routes in. September, so we move on to corporate social responsibility, we'll look at ethical business, and we'll look at philanthropy. So these are kind of other ways that you can do good with your job, even if you're not working for a traditional charity. So this area is booming. More and more people are starting to work in this way. It's very exciting. It's kind of new for the syllabus this year, which is exciting. So we'll develop something awesome for you, and you'll be the first to have it. October. And there we are, we're at the end. October, we'll look at careers, we'll look at next steps. We'll spend time with all of you going through the skills that you've developed in the past 10 months and support you to work out what your next steps might be. We're hoping to kind of develop a really interesting package around this. I'm not going to say too much, it's all under wraps, but hopefully we'll be in a position to really support you guys to take your next steps into the world of social change work. And that is the course. There's so much more we could say on it, but I hope that gives you a flavour. Yeah, let's move on to the next bit.
So, yeah, you might be wondering, how do you get all this information? So the course is an online course, which means that you can do it wherever you are in the country, you just need a good internet connection. So we have a digital platform which you can log into and you can complete tasks. So some of them might be watching a video and commenting on it, or reading an article, or some of them might be, doing a quiz. It can vary. We also have online webinars, so that's new to this year. So they'd work in the same way as this is working. But yeah, that's been a really great addition to the course this year. So we've had people from various different charities come in to lead a webinar on a subject that goes with the month that we're learning. And we've also been doing online discussion groups, which is sort of like a chat room, and you can chat to the other apprentices once a month, which is really nice. So even though the course is online, you get a lot of contact with the Child.org team as well as your other apprentices. So there's a really nice community which you can be a part of. So yeah, this is a nice quote from Laura, who's an apprentice at the moment, about the knowledge that she's gained from the course. And you can also have a little sneak peek as to what the platform looks like.
Okay, so real life challenges. As I sort of alluded to earlier, the course is mainly online, and as Anjali said, you need a really good internet connection and you're pretty much good to go. A lot of the stuff's online, kind of more theoretical understanding of how change comes about is through online content, so lots of videos and some reading, but it's complemented by this real life challenges piece. So this isn't a master's program. We're not asking you to become, world experts on particular areas. We want to give you a flavour of everything so that you have a really good grounding to go and have an effective career in this sector. And And you cannot do that if you do not have the skills. You could have all of the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to kind of implement it, it doesn't mean anything. And that's what recruiters want. If organisations are looking for staff and you're thinking of going for jobs, they want to see that you have experience of doing this and you know how to do this. And so a massive part of the course is providing you with the support and helping you to make events or challenges or whatever the kind of practical element might be as successful as possible. So you can talk about it in a cover letter, in a CV, in the best ways you can. So you'll do a range of different challenges. The biggest ones is the event and the fundraising challenge, which we've already talked about. As I said, we're still planning the course for this year. We might try to squeeze a couple more things in depending on timings and when's a busy month and when's not a busy month. And also the sector changes all the time, and we have to adapt to that to make sure that you have the best skills and the best knowledge that you possibly can. So we might put some more in, don't be surprised. But yeah, they're the best bit of the course. They're the bit that's going to take you the furthest, I really believe.
So yeah, here's a quote from Amy, who's an apprentice at the moment, about the kinds of practical things she's been doing this year. And the picture on the left is not Amy, but it's Christy, who is an apprentice this year. And she's actually got a paid role with child.org, working in events, because we saw a lot of potential in her in the course, and we received some funding so that we were able to offer her a paid position with us. So her role is to run quizzes across the country. So yeah, if you impress us in the year, there is potential that it could lead to jobs or placements with child.org. So another thing, sort of leading on what I just said, we offer placements with us here in the UK and in Kenya. So, for example, some of the placements that have happened in the UK have been running these quizzes, or working on our harvest campaign, or various fundraising placements. So we also, it's sort of a slight change to the course this year. In previous years, we've done a trip out to Kenya for all the apprentices who signed up to it. But this year we've done it so that you apply for placement. So you apply for the placement that you're really interested in and where you think you'll add the most value and gain the most out of. So we just had an apprentice who's returned from Kenya and has done a placement coordinating a Girls Empowerment Week with our women's groups. So this is a really great way to build up your skills in the sector and apply for those placements where you think you can gain the most out of. So yeah, this is Annabelle, who went out to Kenya last year, and she worked with our women's groups in Meru, Kenya, and she worked on a lot of monitoring and evaluation projects. So she spent a lot of time interviewing the women, and yeah, so it really benefited her because she's looking to pursue a career in international development. So she's hoping to get onto a master's now next year.
Okay, costs. I'm sure lots of you have got questions on this, so I'm going to quickly run through it. I've just had a quick glance at the questions down below. We will go through them all in detail in a minute, once we've kind of gone through the presentation. But hopefully this will kind of shed some light on stuff around money. So the course is completely free. It's the only course like it in the UK. It's the only thing that is free. And it is part-time, so we recommend it takes about 4 hours a week, so you are able to work full-time if you are in work, or work part-time if you're studying, or whatever your situation might be. We don't want you to not be able to do this because it costs too much. So it costs child.org around £600 per person to run this course. So it might be free course for you guys, it's not free for us. We have to pay a lot of money. We pay this money because we believe that the sector needs a strong, talented, skilled workforce. If we're wanting to make impact on the issues that we're seeing across the world and in the UK, we need to make sure that staff that are working in organisations tackling these issues know what they're doing. So child.org invests in you to put your efforts into this course and to work really hard. You know, if you, for whatever reason, are going through the course and something happens and you can't complete it, we're not going to ask you to pay the remaining money or pay us back or anything like that, but we do ask that you recognise that there is an investment happening in you here, and so we want you to work hard and to do well. Yes, so you don't have to pay any costs. There are some optional costs. So like I was saying before, the boot camp and the hack days, we don't have the money to cover, unfortunately. You know, we're constantly looking for sponsorship, for corporate organisations to give us some money, and we will continue to do so. If we manage to land one, if any of you know some really friendly billionaires, send them our way. We'd love them to give us some money, and so that we can make the boot camps and the hack days also free for you. At the moment, unfortunately, we can't. The boot camp is 2 nights accommodation and all of your food included, and that's £60, which if you were going away for a weekend, even in the UK, it would never cost you £60. It would definitely cost you much more, but it's the cheapest that we can get it. There are 2 boot camps this year. We've only done one in the past, but we found that people have enjoyed them so much and they've been so useful that we brought in 2. You know, don't let, if you can't afford to do 1 boot camp or 2 boot camps, don't let that put you off applying for the course. They are optional. We just strongly encourage you to come because they're incredibly good, and if we say so ourselves. And the hack days, again, they're about £40. They're 1 day long. We'll kind of, as I said earlier, we don't know whereabouts in the country they'll be yet because we don't have all of our apprentices on board. So the cost may kind of vary, but we say £40 as an estimate. Hopefully it will go down. And again, they're optional. You don't have to come to them, but we encourage you to do so if you can. Okay, so that's the costs. And then finally, we're on to looking at the application process. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the process itself, what we need you to do, and I'll talk to you about what we're kind of looking for. How do you make sure that you do an application that we look at and we're nodding away and we're thinking, yeah, this person needs to be on the course. So some of you may have already registered online. So on the charityapprentice.org website, if you want to apply, you've got to pop in your email address and we're going to send you a link to the application process. Some of you may have done that already. Some of you might not have. You might have wanted to attend this open evening first, which is absolutely fine. Hopefully you'll get to the end of it and you'll be convinced and you'll go back to the website and pop in your email address. Why we're doing it like that this year is that we're expecting a lot of applications. And so we're having to kind of look at them on a rolling basis. So me and Anjali, and we have one more team member, Lucy, who's not here this evening. We're the interview team, we're the application review team. There's not that many of us, and there's an awful lot of you. So we're having to do it on a rolling basis. So what we do is you pop in your email address. You'll get an automatic email that will tell you when you will receive the application link. The earlier you pop in your email address, the earlier you will get the link to the application form, the earlier you can apply and secure your spot. We'll be taking 250 people this year, and when the 250 places are full, they're full. We're not going to be recruiting for anyone else. So yeah, we really encourage you to apply as early as you can. We've already had a lot of applications come in, which is really exciting. It's only been open a week. Just over a week, something like that. Yes, so what we're looking for, the application process gives us an opportunity to get to know you a bit better. We don't need you to tell us all of the things that you have done in the charity sector, in the third sector before. We're not looking for loads of experience, we're looking for the right type of people. What is that? The right type of person. Okay, so we're looking for people who are critically minded. Have you been thinking about this area of work for a long time? Do you wonder why some campaigns work and why some campaigns don't? Do you look at sort of social inequality in the UK or across the world and think, like, why is that happening, and how can we change it, and how can we change it in the best way possible, in the most sustainable way possible? We want people that are thinking about those types of questions. We want people that are impact driven. We want you to be thinking, I don't just want to solve the problem, I want to solve the problem so it never happens again. And how can I make sure that I've got the skills to work at the most impact that I can throughout my career? We want people who are going to throw themselves in. This is an online course. Me and Angela are not sitting next to you at your kitchen table to sort of tell you that you've got a deadline coming up and you need to do your work. This is, it's on you to make the most of this. The apprentices that have done the best in the past are the ones that have thrown themselves in and have accepted the challenges, absolutely made the most of the course. So we want people that are gonna commit. We want people that can take the initiative. If you think, you've got a great idea for an event or a challenge, we want you to go for it. So we're looking for you to show us that sort of side of you in the application. Tell us about something crazy you've done in the past. Yes, I think so. When you pop your email address into the website and you get the link through to the application form, there is a video, so you get to hear more of me, unfortunately, talking about what we're looking for. So again, don't worry, you can go back and there'll be more information when you get to the application stage. On the application itself, there's the basic contact kind of detail information, which is standard in any application, and then we've got a few questions. I think there's 5 questions off the top of my head that we ask of you. Again, this isn't tell us how qualified you already are in this area. It's just us trying to get to know you a little bit more. So they're questions that sort of provoke an interesting answer. Then we ask you to do an essay or a video. So again, this is to kind of show us that you are aware that there are challenges in this sector, that there are kind of hot topics, controversial topics. We want to hear your side of the argument about those issues. So you can do an essay or you can do a video. We strongly encourage you to do a video. It's much quicker, it's much easier, it's much more fun for us. Being able to do a video and to speak to camera is a skill that you will need in this sector. Look at me and Angela right now. And you will, if you do get on the course, you will be expected to do a video at some point. So just go for it. We give you detailed instructions, really detailed instructions with Angela, who goes through on a video the way that you do one. You'll get access to that video when you get to the application. So don't be scared about it, and go for it. They're a brilliant way for us to feel like we know you a bit better. So once you've hit submit on the application form, that comes to us. We review once every 2 weeks. So all the applications that have come in that 2-week period, we sit down and review. The ones that we think are really good, we take forward to interview. So we say it's an interview, it's very informal, it's absolutely nothing to worry about. You will just pick a slot on a date that we'll send out the kind of times and days that you can choose from, and it's a phone call. It's a very simple kind of 15-20 minute phone call with me, Angeli or Lucy, and we will ask you some more questions about yourself and you can ask us any questions. So it's nothing to be worried about at all. It's not a really formal interview, it's just a chance to have a bit more of a chat. Again, so after interview we make our final decision. So we will get in touch with you and tell you whether you have a place on Charity Apprentice 2018 or not. At that stage you'll gain access to the platform, so you can create your own profile. You'll get added into the Charity Apprentice 2018 Facebook group, so you can start meeting other apprentices across the country. We'll be sending out kind of content to kind of keep you excited until January the 8th it comes around, and it's going to come around very quickly, and then the course will kick off. So the next application review is on Friday. If you have access to a link, we strongly advise that you get your application in before Friday the 13th. If you don't worry, pop your address in the box on the charityapprentice.org website and you will be in the next kind of wave of applications, which means that you'll get the link to your application form in 2 weeks' time. So whatever date that is, 2 weeks on Friday. Yeah, and if you want to be on this course, we hope you do, apply quickly and secure your spot.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly run through about where some of our alumni have gone. Probably the bit that you're all wondering about, like what happens when you finish the course, and sort of going on from what Ruth said, you get out from the course what you put in. So the people that we've seen that have done really well and got jobs at the end are those people that put their all into all the tasks. So they did an amazing fundraising challenge and a really impressive event and have been committed throughout the year. So yeah, these are some of the charities that apprentices are working at, and I would say it's, you know, if you're interested in fundraising, we'd recommend that you really put your all into those fundraising challenges, and then you can go into an interview and you can say, I ran a team of 20 people to do this bike ride and I motivated them and we raised £4,000, and that is what's going to make you stand out in front of everyone else. So yeah, as you can see that Charter.org is on there, so we've got Claire who's with us right now taking all the questions from the webinar, but Claire did the course back in 2015 and is now working with us as a programme officer in international programming. So yeah, you know, impress us, and we are also really happy to help you guys when you're applying for jobs. If you need help with applications or interviews, one of the apprentices said to me recently that from the course, she really gained confidence to be able to go into an interview and say that she did all of these amazing things. So yeah, I think you know, we've had a really impressive number of apprentices get jobs at the end, which has been great. So I'm going to let Heather talk to you now. So Heather did the course in 2016, so last year. It feels like ages ago. And yeah, I wanted her to speak to you a bit more about her experiences. But let's see if we can hear her.
I was one of, a bit funny tonight. I was one of the apprentices in 2016, and in 2017, so this year, I've been one of the mentors. So I've been helping this year's apprentices kind of figure out what they want to do, how they want to tackle some of the projects that they've been doing, and if they've ever been struggling with the course, then I'm always here to help if they need a hand. I've been asked to chat to you about some of my highlights and what I found really useful on the course this year. Sorry, last year, feels like ages ago. So one of my highlights, I really struggled to try and figure out what my highlights were. So I've gone with two in the end because that was as much as I could narrow it down. One of my highlights was definitely the boot camp. So you've heard about that quite a little bit tonight. Boot camp, so we go away for a weekend, we get to know each other, get to know about the charity, and start working on event ideas and things like that. Really good to meet so many like-minded people. So there was it's literally a room full of people that you're passionate about, and there is a whole team there helping you figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it, and they're helping you put it in place. And it's not an opportunity that you get in everyday life whatsoever. So that was amazing. We definitely got to know each other a lot more, and you get really good links with people that are already in the sector. So it's a really good opportunity to network and things like that. So that was one of my highlights. My other highlight was fundraiser. So that's another thing that you've heard a little bit about today. It's about recruiting a team where you basically fundraise as a challenge. So things like how far can you run, and you get people to sponsor you. So it's like a sponsorship based challenge. And at first it absolutely terrified me, the idea of trying to recruit that many people, ask them to join your team and fundraise for you is pretty intimidating at first. It was actually amazing in the end. I managed to get a team of like 20 people all invested in the charity and the project that we were doing. And we did like an under the breadline challenge, so where you live on £1 a day for a week. And it was amazing, and it was so good to be able to see that the kind of skills that I didn't even realise I'd been well on the course really came into its own. So that was definitely one of my highlights, because it was such a success, and it was something that I'd been really kind of like worried about at the start, which is something you'll find with a lot of the tasks on Charity Apprentice. You think that it's going to be something that you've never done before, and you think it's going to be a really big deal, but you get that much support that it's just incredible, honestly. So yeah, that was definitely one of my highlights. Talking about the boot camp, we did the boot camp again as mentors the following year, and it just doesn't get any less inspiring, which is a really nice thing to be able to say. So I'd already been doing the course. I'd done the course once, and I was mentoring for the second time. And second time round, I was even more blown away that there was even more people there that were even more passionate. So it's definitely something that once you've done the apprenticeship, it's not something that in October, that's the end of it and Charity Apprentice is done. There's a lot of opportunities to stay on board with the team, whether it's in a job role like Angela's just been talking about, or it's kind of on a volunteering level. So at the moment, I run some of the quizzes in Manchester, which is something that I really wanted to do because I wanted to stay more involved with child.org. So there's so many opportunities to keep going, that if you're passionate about it, then they're happy to help you with it, which is a really nice thing to be part of. And I don't think it's something that you get in many other sectors. So yeah, those are kind of like my main highlights. The skills that I've been able to acquire on the course, I couldn't even list them all. It is ridiculous how many skills you don't even realise that you're learning. I'm currently a teacher, so I don't work in the charity sector, although it is like a dream of mine to one day do that. I've got to say that one of the main skills I'd say I've gained is my just absolutely no fear to try something new. You're forced to try so many new things on the course that by the time you finished it, there isn't anything that you're not going to try. If you get told to walk into a room full of people you don't know and talk about something that you've only just come across, and you need to come across as passionate as it, you can do it. If you need to convince a team of 20 people to get behind you and do something that they never thought they were going to do, then you can do it. And it's a really nice skill to be able to have in your own personal life, but definitely as a career. In any interview, you can go in, you can say, right, well, these are all the things that I can do, and I can also adapt really quickly because that's what I've learned to do, which is a skill any employer would really highly value. Both the events that you will do in the summer and the fundraising challenge, and just the course in general, but particularly those two things, are really good at emphasising your leadership qualities. So not just being a leader, but really motivating your team. There is not a fundraising challenge on this earth that you can do without being motivated to do it. So it's a really good skill to be able to have to not only manage a team of volunteers on your challenge, but also really motivate them and hype them up the whole time and keep saying, especially when it's like a long-term challenge, so something that you're training for, or like what I did where it was like 5 days long, to keep being able to say, you're doing amazing, keep it up, and then them responding to that and getting even better. And that's a skill that I definitely developed on Charity Apprentice, and it's something that I use not only in my personal life but every day in the classroom and things as well. And I think those are not only the two most important skills that I've learned on Charity Apprentice, but two of the most important skills I now have. So it definitely does help in the charity sector, but also just general skills that you would use in any career, not just that sector. I hope I've not talked too fast. I feel like I've got a lot to say about the programme because I am a really, really big believer in it. And I'm so excited for those of you that are going to apply, because you're in for a really, really good year ahead. I'm going to hang around afterwards. If you do have any questions, please type them in, and Claire's collecting them. And I'm more than happy to answer any if you've got any. So I'll hand you back to Angela and Ruth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was. We swear we didn't pay her. That was a glowing reference. We couldn't have asked for anything better than that. Thank you, Heather. Okay, we're going to go to questions now.
Yeah.
We can kind of see you all furiously typing, which is brilliant. Our lovely assistant Claire has been collating them all for us, so we can kind of now go through. We'll take them. They're kind of in blocks, so we'll be able to tackle them kind of block at a time. You know, if you still have questions at the end of this, do not worry. We're not going to fall off the face of the planet. You can email us at any time, give us a call. All of the details on the charityapprentice.org website, and yeah, you can catch us at any time if you need to ask something else. Okay. So we're going to kick off with questions on applications. How applicants selected? Okay, so it's quite a it's relatively easy. Angeli and Lucy and myself have a kind of matrix where we're looking for certain qualities. So it's the sort of things I was saying earlier. Are you driven by impact? Are you critically minded? Are you innovative? Are you you're unafraid of a challenge? We kind of have a list of these different criteria that we're looking for, and so when we're reading the application, we kind of try to assess how much you've convinced us of these qualities. We go through that, we go through the essays and videos, again looking to see how well you match these qualities and attributes, and then you get an overall score at the end. If that overall score is above a certain mark, we take you through to interview. The interview is really just a sense check to make sure that you didn't pay someone else to go and write your application, which none of you will do, I'm absolutely sure. It's just an opportunity for us to have a chat with you, basically, and that's it. Yeah, there's much more information on what we're looking for in the application process when you get to that stage. So when you've got the link to the form itself, you'll go through. The first thing you'll see is a video of me talking to you again about the specifics and what we're looking for. So don't worry too much. When you get to that stage, you'll know in a bit more detail. Have you got anything else?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it.
Okay.
Access the presentation. Yeah, if you want a copy of this, just drop me an email, so hello@charityapprentice.org, and we can send you the recording, the presentation. Yeah, just let us know, but that's fine, we can share that. Mm-hmm.
Are there any recommended reading sources before the course starts? So we will send you kind of a few emails. Obviously, the guys that are going to get recruited in the first wave get recruited in October, and they have all the way until January the 8th to wait until the course starts. We obviously want to keep momentum high. We want to make sure that you guys are excited for when the course comes around. So we will sort of be sending communications to you that's sort of like, we've just seen this really interesting thing, or this is happening in the sector. What do you think? Like we'll be sending things like that. It's not compulsory that you engage in that kind of stuff, but it's if you're interested in this work and you're applying for the course, then it might be fun to look at it. There's one kind of thing that you will be expected to do before the course starts, and that's to, again, it's going to be a video of me. I'm sorry, well, you will get to hear other people soon. That's looking at time management, how you manage your time. So you'll kind of be expected to look at that video first. It's the sort of thing that when I say productivity or time management, everyone rolls their eyes, and I get it, but I can promise you it will be one of the best skills that you learn on this course, is how to be really efficient in your work and how to be productive so you can make even more impact in a shorter space of time. When I started my career, it was a huge learning curve for me in my first few months, and I think it's really, really important to equip you guys with that skill, because you will never run out of work in this sector. It is so busy all the time, and you need to be able to make sure that you can handle the amount of work. So we will do a kind of how you're going to manage your time session at the very, very beginning of the course before you gain access to all of the content. So it's not kind of recommended reading, it's compulsory viewing, I'm afraid. It won't be that long, don't worry. Okay.
How many spaces are there for the course? So this or next year there are going to be 250 places. So that's kind of why we're encouraging you to get your applications in quick, because once they're gone, they'll go. So yeah.
Can you already apply for 2019, or do you need to wait? Interesting question. So no, so you can't apply directly now. The application form this year is only for 2018. However, if you pop in your email address and go on the into our database as somebody who has registered interest in the course, you could just ignore all of the emails that we're sending this year, and you'd still be on the database for next year, where we'd then sort of be sending you information when the course opens then. So you can do that. Otherwise, put a marker in your calendar to check back in sort of September time next year, and yeah, you'll be able to apply then. But we only do applications for 1 year at a time, I'm afraid, just because of the number of them and being able to handle the kind of data that comes in.
How many words do you recommend writing for each application question? That is a hard one. I think it obviously depends on the question. Don't feel like you have to write masses, like as long as you're answering it, you know, and we get an understanding of who you are and the kind of experience that you have, that's fine. So yeah, don't feel like you have to write an essay.
No. Yeah, I just say, you know, we're not if you think about the number of applications we have and what we'll be reading, we're not going to be sort of sitting down with a cup of tea for each individual one. That would be lovely, but we would have had to have started 2 years ago to do that. So, you know, remember that this is a quick process. Put down your thoughts, but it doesn't need to be pages and pages. Just give us a flavour of what you think that question is trying to get you to talk about. I've lost my place. Does the video have to be taken in one shot, or can you edit it until you're happy with it? It's entirely up to you, really. So on the detailed instructions that we give on how to do a video, we specify we are absolutely not expecting you to be videographers. We're not asking for graphics and animations and, you know, fancy editing and brilliant setting and everything. You know, what you can do is you can sit on your bed and you can hold your phone and you can film yourself talking to your phone, to the camera, and that can be it. We're not asking you to be kind of tech wizards, not at all. If you do have those skills and you want to wow us, then absolutely, by all means, do an Oscar-worthy film. That's absolutely brilliant. But you don't have to at all.
Are you more likely to get on the course with a video or an essay? So I mean, we do prefer videos. As Ruth said, it's a really good way for us to get a flavour of who you are. But if you write an essay, that is still an application, part of your application, and you know, if you write a great essay, then it doesn't mean that, you know, we won't accept you.
Yeah.
You know, as long as we've got an overall picture of who you are.
Definitely, we're looking for people that fit our criteria, and our criteria does really fantastic videos. We're looking for the person, not necessarily whether you do an essay or a video. We just think that we get to understand more about you through a video than we do an essay. So we think it's easier for you to convince us that you are the type of person that should be on this course through a video. I don't know actually what the stats are in terms of last year and how many people who did a video got on, how many people did an essay and got on. Generally, we find people are scared of doing the videos, but you really, really don't have to be. Absolutely not. And yeah, it's a really good skill to get. How long is the recruitment process, and when will we find out if we've been successful? So we don't have a kind of deadline. It's not like applications open until and then there's no more applications. Basically because we're doing it on a rolling basis. So when we have 250 people that we think are really good and we've offered them a place, then the applications will close. I was going to say, if we don't get 250 by the end of December, then we'll close applications anyway. That's never happened. We smash the target every year, so we will have 250 people. The more popular, the more well known the course gets, the quicker those roles fill up. I can't really say when we're thinking that the places are going to be filled. All I can say is apply early and make sure that you're on the right side of it. And when will you find out? So depending on when you apply and when you do your application, when your interview is, when you do your interview, you will find out that week. So is it that week? The week after? That week, I think. Yeah, you'll find out the week that you do your interview. So it's relatively quick. Once you've submitted your application, it's a quick process.
Yeah. What time on Friday is the submission deadline? If you can get your application in before 9 a.m, that would be great. And then we will get back to you that day to let you know the outcome.
Is the application form available before Friday the 13th, and how can applicants access it? So this is the kind of rolling, I don't really know, it's quite complicated to explain. So to try to stagger the applications and to stagger the interviews and to give us a chance to get through them all without having to lose sleep for months, we've created a kind of rolling basis. So if you had already registered your interest, so if you'd already put your email address into the charityapprentice.org website, you will have received an email already with the link to the application form, so you can access that. If you have if you had submitted your email to register pre 1st of September, you will have the link. If you've registered your interest, if you put your email address into the website between the 1st of September and now, you will get the link on Friday. And then
October.
Is it?
We opened on last Monday.
Oh yeah, 1st of October, not 1st of September. Sorry, my goodness, I'm losing track of the months. Yeah, 1st of October. So if you registered interest previously to the 1st of October, you will already have the link. If you have registered interest since the 1st of October, you will get the link on Friday. If you are going to register your interest on Saturday or Sunday, for example, or any time after Friday, you will get your link on the, I think it's the 22nd of October, so it's 2 weeks on Friday. So we're kind of we're working in 2 week batches as depending on when you say that you want to apply. It's quite complicated, I'm really sorry. But all I can say is put your email address in as quickly as you can, and you'll be told, and you'll get the link as soon as possible.
So the next questions are about boot camp. So what is the date for the February boot camp? It's the 23rd to the 25th of February. So yeah, Friday evening to Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
And the one in June is the
16th and 17th.
Yeah, 16th and 17th.
If you gather a team for the fundraising challenge, can they come to the boot camp weekend as well if they pay? Oh, great question. I've never thought about that. No one's ever asked. Basically, it depends on venue space, I think. If they're happy to pay, then we're happy to have them, I guess. It just depends on how much space we have. So we're looking at venues at the moment to work out where we can book to welcome you all. If there's space, then yeah, let's have a chat about it then. If there's not, it would obviously have to go to people on the course first, I'm afraid.
So now on to course questions. Will being away for a month/few months during the year affect progress on the course? Will much of the course be missed? That's a really hard one. It sort of depends where you are in the world, and if you've got access to an good internet connection, you'll be able to do the online tasks and join the webinars. What you might struggle with is the practical stuff. So organising a fundraising challenge or running an event is really tricky if you're, on an island in the Caribbean. So it's sort of, I mean, if you've got a specific, trip that you're going away for, it's best to talk to us about that before, just because we wouldn't want you to sign up and then, it ends up that you can't do it. If you're going on holiday for a couple of weeks or even a month, it would be fine to catch up. But if it's longer than a couple of months, then we would be a little bit concerned. Yeah. Just because the workload would pile up and it would,
We don't want you to be stressed.
No.
Okay, so where are we? Will the course be available in 2019? Oh, so for Tilly, who's going to be away for most of 2018. Well, okay, lucky you. Yes, it will be. Child.org doesn't have any plans to close it down, or at least I hope not, because me and Angela will be out of a job. But we can't kind of say necessarily what the content will be or anything like that. As you'll learn in the course, charities have to budget every year and work out how much money they've got, see what's happened during the year and what their finances are looking like. So the course will run, but we don't know necessarily what it will look like. It might be smaller, it might be much bigger. We're not sure, but we during the course in 2018, we'll kind of share our plans for 2019 with people on who are apprentices, because you kind of help us build the course for future years, which again is a great skill to get, like learner experience design.
Can you fit Charity Apprentice around a full-time job and a full-time university degree? So, I mean, is that both together? That sounds intense. Okay, fine. So yeah, absolutely. So the course is designed to fit into your schedule. So, you know, everyone on the course at the moment is either in full-time work or is at university. It's, you know, we say it's about a 4-hour commitment a week. So if you've got a spare evening or a spare weekend, you shouldn't have any problems keeping up with the workload. You might have some weeks that are busier and some that are more quiet, but it averages out about that. And, you know, if you've got a really busy time at university, exam period, May is always horrible, it's okay. You can just, as long as you tell us beforehand and communicate with us, let us know how you're going to catch up, it won't be a problem.
Absolutely. Are you expected to work during the week, or is it working on the weekend is acceptable? You can work whenever you like. If you want to do the tasks at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's absolutely fine. Don't necessarily expect me and Angeli to be online to answer your questions at that time, but yeah, you can do it wherever you want. If you have a quick 10 minutes on the bus on your way to work and you want to quickly do some tasks, you can do it then. If you want to schedule a 4-hour slot on a Saturday morning and do your Charity Apprentice work, then you can do it then. It's completely up to you, and we try to make the course as flexible as possible to ensure that you can fit it around your busy lives.
Yeah, and we have obviously we have the webinars and the discussion groups, but we let you know the dates in advance so that you're able to plan those into your schedules. Yeah. What was the next one?
Is it possible to defer your place during the course?
Yeah. So yeah, it's quite difficult because we won't know how the course is going to be structured in 2019. We might change it, and so it would be difficult to defer your place on the course. We have done this in the past in like really exceptional circumstances, but it's probably a no. Like, we wouldn't want to promise you that we can defer and then we can't. So
yeah, you know, the thing I'd add to that is, you know, you have to remember that the £600 that Child.org has invested in you is invested already. So if you don't do the course, it doesn't really matter. We've invested the money regardless, and so we don't want to sort of say yes to everybody that wants to start the course and then defer, because it just means that we've then invested double the amount of money in one person, which means that other people don't get a chance. You know, if you have you know, something awful happen in your year, and it happens, and you can't do the course, you are absolutely welcome to come and speak to us, and we will try our best to make sure that we can defer you, but we just can't promise. Okay, on to placements. How long are the potential placements in Kenya? So that very much depends on the need of our team in Kenya. So we're not going to send you over there to just do any old thing. It works like a recruitment process for jobs. So they say to us, we need somebody to do XYZ. So it could be, we need somebody to go over here and help us write a grant application to this funder. It could be, we need someone to go, it could be anything. But they determine what the need is. They determine how long somebody would be needed for that amount of time. Obviously, we try to make sure that that's doable. It's not like we need someone to come over here for 2 years to work on whatever. So roughly they're 6 weeks to...
Yeah, I think the longest one is 3 months, yeah.
That's what's happened in the past. You know, things change a lot in this sort of sector, and need is constantly kind of coming up. We are going to try to grow the number of placements that we can offer this year, so have more in the UK as well as those that are happening in Kenya, and have more that are not with us, not with Child.org, so with other organisations. We're going to try to grow that this year. Again, can't promise it, just sort of we'll try our best and we'll see what happens.
What do the placements entail? I think you covered that.
Yeah, so the placements can entail loads and loads of stuff. We don't sort of have set placements that we send people out to do every year. It's very it's directed by the needs of the charity that we're working with and placing you with. So yeah, we can't sort of say, but what happens is they go up like job adverts on the platform, and you can read them. They've got role descriptions to them, and if you feel like one of them would give you really good experience and they sound interesting, then by all means apply, and then it's an application. It's a recruitment process like it would be a job. So again, it's really good experience to sort of see what it's like to be applying for an actual role in the sector.
What are the costs for the overseas placements? So the placements are independent, so you would have to cover your flights and your accommodation, and we would help you with that. So if you're looking for accommodation in Kisumu, Kenya, we'll give you recommendations and advice on what you need to do. The placements so far have been voluntary, but obviously that's dependent on funding. So if we receive funding for a particular project and we need an apprentice to go out there, it could be paid.
Yeah. Okay, so we're moving on to fundraising. Do the fundraising challenge have targets or set outcomes to achieve? Yes. So the target for you to fundraise is £1,500. I can almost hear the screams of panic from people in their computers. If you've never done any fundraising before, that seems like an awful lot of money, but I can promise you it's very, very easy, and that is a very small amount to fundraise. We support you a lot. We really, really help you, and we give you all of the skills and the tools that you need to fundraise that money. It's really not difficult. We have apprentices every year, absolutely smash it. I think the top of the leaderboard for Charity Apprentice 2017 has raised over £4,000. Like it's a lot of money. So raising 1,500 is really not a problem. If you put your mind to it, and if you're putting your all into the course, you will do it very, very, very easily.
Yeah, and another thing is you do get a lot of support from us. So my whole job is to support you guys. So if you're struggling with any kind of aspect with fundraising, then you can just drop me a message and I'll help you. And we've also got mentors that will help you. So as Heather explained, she's a mentor on the course this year, and they've all been through it, so they know exactly what you'll need to do to hit those targets. So yeah, there's lots of support, and you'll have a lot of communication with the team and the other apprentices.
Yeah. Okay, where do the funds raised from the events and activities go? Okay, yeah, so the money fundraise comes to child.org. It's the way, it's the thing that we kind of fund the course by you guys fundraising and from us investing quite a lot of money, £100,000 into the course. We ask you to fundraise on behalf of us, which is fantastic, and it's a brilliant way for us to really get you involved in the international development programs that we run. So all of the money that's raised goes to our programs. Child.org has a really interesting structure as a charity. Again, you'll learn more about this on the course. But having worked at quite a few charities myself, one of the reasons I was so excited to come and work at Child.org was that it's I don't know another charity that has this kind of structure, which is fantastic. So we have an office in Nairobi in Kenya, and we have our Kenyan staff team over there who are doing our international development work, and the office in London and the staff team here. Most of us are working on what we call products. So we, as the UK team, basically run lots of different. They're like social enterprises. They're like small businesses, and those generate money to fund the work that we're doing across sub-Saharan Africa. So it's a really interesting kind of model. So the money that you fundraise acts like that. It goes back and feeds our development work that's happening over there. It's one of the reasons that we invest so much in the course, as well as the charitable aims in the course itself, insofar as we want to support loads of really skilled, talented, kind of ambitious young people to be able to go off and work in the sector to do more and more great stuff. So that's what happens. As you go through, we'll be kind of updating you on where your money's going and what's happening with the programs. It works as a brilliant sort of living case study when you're kind of learning about international development and learning about programming as an area of work.
Do the event and challenges have to take place within the month they are set on the course? No. So obviously things like an event, it takes time to organise. You want to have enough time to be able to promote it and advertise it. So, you know, running your event, you might do it a couple of months after the task has been set. We don't recommend leaving it too long, just because you don't want to be organising your event and your challenge in the same month, because that would be quite overwhelming for you. So it's best to spread it out. But obviously, you know, if you're running a student event, you wouldn't want to organise it during exam time and things like that. So we know that you have different schedules and different lives, so it's important to fit that in with your practical challenges.
The next question is, can you give some examples of challenges and events that previous apprentices have done? I'm going to hand this one to Angela because she knows them inside out.
Okay, so yeah, as Heather said, she did a really great challenge. She did Under the Breadline £1 a day challenge, which is fairly easy to organise, just because, you know, you can get friends and family all over the world to do it. You don't all have to be in the same place. And getting 20 people on board means that if everyone raised £100, you've got £2,000, which is amazing. Some other innovative challenges I've seen, we had an apprentice this year who, she's top of the leaderboard at the moment, but she did a 100k cycle ride. So she hired out a gym, and she got like 15 friends involved, and they all did this really amazing cycle. And yeah, so really impressive challenges. And events, we've seen, well, what have we seen? So many. Some of my favourites have been Murder Mystery Night, which is really cool and raised, I think, about £600.
What about the cardboard cinema?
Oh yeah, so we've got an apprentice at the moment. She's very creative, and she's organising something called Cardboard Cinema, which is a drive-in cinema afternoon for children. But they have a cardboard box and they have to design it, so that's their little car. And then they all get together and watch a film. It's really cute. So she's running it in half term.
I really want her to invent one for adults.
Yeah.
I think it sounds amazing.
Yeah, loads of fun.
Can the money raised from the challenge be used to cover the cost of the hack days and the boot camps? Unfortunately not. So part of the fundraising section that you'll learn about on the course is ring-fenced money. So that's when money's raised in a fundraising through some sort of form of fundraising, so a challenge or major donors or whatever, and that money is ring-fenced. So we know that we will get a certain amount of money, so we can make sure that that money is invested into our programs. So unfortunately, we don't allow you to fundraise and use that to cover the hack days or the bootcamp costs. I'm really sorry. I know that causes some problems for some people, but we need to, as a running international development organisation, we need to know that we can budget money to the programs that we're running in Kenya and other places. So you can't. But if you really desperately want to come to a bootcamp or hack day and the finances are going to cause you some problems, then when you're on the course, talk to us and we will see what we can do. As I said, we're constantly trying to find really lovely billionaires who have so much money they don't know what to do with, to help us out. We're going to keep trying to do that, and if we can, we will make it free for everybody. But at the moment, we've not been able to do that, unfortunately.
Can we do more than one event? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good way of like standing out.
Yeah, goodness.
As an apprentice. Yeah, we've had apprentices in the past, they've done an event and it might not have worked as they wanted it to, so they've seen why has it failed, and they've evaluated it and then did it and done it better. So yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Okay, so on to some questions about what happens after Charity Apprentice. Will there be opportunities to work for Child.org following completion of the course? Well, yes and no. So every year since the course has begun, we have given jobs to some apprentices. It's not a kind of formal offering. We don't sort of specify that you will definitely get a job with us. But we recruit, we go out to the charities networks, and you will be able to apply for jobs in the same way that you'd be able to apply for another charity who might be recruiting. So jobs may exist, but we can't say for sure, and it's open recruitment in the way that any other job would be. They're not sort of specifically recruited from the charity apprentice pool, but if you've been through the course and you've done really well and you've gained the skills and experience that you need to land the job, then you have just as much chance as anybody else to land a job with us. So it's not a definite yes, I'm afraid, but it's not a no either. It's a kind of see what happens when we get to the end of the course. We're also connected with other organisations. If we know of jobs that are coming up, we will tell you about them, and as Anjali said earlier, we will support you as much as we can to make sure that your applications are strong ones.
Do alumni meet up after the course? Yes. So yeah, one of the really lovely things about Charity Apprentice is the networks that you build and friendships that you make. Sounds quite cheesy. But yeah, so what's nice about this year on the course, and will be nice about next year, is that because there's 250 of you, you'll all be scattered over across the country. So this year on the course, we've seen lots of people organise local meetups throughout the year. So yeah, definitely, it's really nice to have those connections, and yeah, when you're all working for charities, you'll find it really useful.
Definitely. Kind of building a more formalised alumni network is something that we're going to be working on this year. As Heather sort of said, there's lots of ways that you can stay in touch with the Charity Apprentice team and child.org more broadly. We want to make sure that that's as formalised as possible, and that we're thinking about potentially running further training for alumni, or giving you kind of fun social events to meet up on, or we're brainstorming lots of different things. So as that sort of idea progresses and we work out how much it's going to cost, etc., we'd love to hear your ideas. So that's something you'd be able to feed in on the course itself. Okay, so the final question: do you have any general advice for people looking to achieve a career in the charity sector other than doing the course? Well, obviously do the course, but general advice. Okay, so I would say you need to think about where your skills are. Some people choose a career path in this sector because they really care about a certain issue. So they're really, really, really passionate about women's rights, and they know they want to work for a women's rights charity or a women's rights organisation. Great. They'll go off and they'll develop a skill, and they'll make sure that they go and work in those areas. Other people are more skills based. So I'm a fundraiser, or I'm a comms expert, or I'm a campaigner, whatever. And they take that skill and they grow it, and then they work at numerous different organisations on different stuff. So before I came to child.org, I was a campaigner. I could have gone and worked at various different organisations as a campaigner. I wouldn't have had to have just stuck with one specific thing. So you need to think about that. Are you being driven by an issue that you really care about, that you want to solve, and you want to dedicate your life to working on that? Or do you think that you have a particular skill set that you could develop? That will really shape the way that you kind of forge your career path. My other big bit of advice is don't just be blinded by the glamour of the big organisations, the Oxfams, the Amnesties, the Save the Children's of the world. Look at the smaller players. It's a controversial issue. I personally think that sometimes the smaller organisations who are much more risk averse, they're much more, they have to be very careful about where they're putting their money. All of those reasons sometimes make them more impactful, and sometimes make them a really exciting place to work. When you're first starting out, I think it's really important that you go to a smaller charity or a smaller organisation, just because you get the breadth of experience very, very quickly. So like Charity Apprentice, we kind of try to give you experience in a whole range of areas. If you go to work for a small organisation, you're not pigeonholed as quickly. You're not going to go in as a fundraiser and that is your one job. You work on a whole raft of different areas, which gives you a chance to develop your skills in lots of different things at once, which is brilliant. That's kind of my top advice. but obviously do the course and you you get loads more, and we get to the end of October and we do a whole piece on actually kind of landing jobs and what that looks like.
Yeah, and I think the really nice thing about the course is if you know you want to work in the charity sector but you don't know where you will fit in it, it's a nice way of finding out the different kinds of jobs and, you know, which area you could fit into.
Okay, so we have
more questions.
We have more questions that Claire has just kindly given to us. Can applicants apply as a pair and work together?
Oh, I've not heard that before.
That's a lovely idea. I mean, not necessarily. It would be practically difficult to fill in the application form as two people. So apply as two separate candidates. But if you want to run an event together, if you want to run a challenge together, you 100% can. It doesn't mean that your target is going to be £1,500 for the two of you. Obviously, you'd need to raise the 3,000. But if you're working in pairs, it becomes much easier. So if you have friends that are also thinking of joining the course, by all means, work together. You know, schedule in a study evening once a week or whatever. Get together, get pizza, get some, get a drink, and do work together. Yes, probably a really good way of doing it.
How many fundraising challenges do you need to do? So the two big practical things you'll need to do is the event and the fundraising challenge. And I mean, you'll have other practical fundraising stuff throughout the year, but there'll be things like, say, contacting a school for fundraising support. But those are the two things that you'll need to manage and, yeah, take control over.
Yeah. And, you know, we do other practical stuff that's not raising money. So fundraising, like we've said, it's a massive part of any role in this sort of sector, and it obviously helps us to run the course. But you'll do other practical things that aren't raising money. When will we know the final timetable for 2018 to know when to be available for boot camps and hack days? So on the application form there is a list of the dates, and you sort of tick off. You sort of need to say, yes, I acknowledge that these are the dates, and I'll try to make them if I can. The hack days, we have confirmed the dates. We haven't got them to hand, but they're two at the end of March and one at the beginning of April. They're at the weekend, and then the February boot camp is the 23rd, 24th and 25th of Feb, and the June boot camp is the 16th and 17th of June. Yeah, as we said before, the hack days, don't know where their locations will be yet. We'll decide that closer to the time.
Would there be opportunities to apply for some writing/marketing for the charity while studying, for someone doing a master's in professional writing? That's a good skill for charity.
Yeah, it's a great skill. You could teach me that skill, actually.
I mean, if we needed someone to do marketing work, and
potentially it's a good placement if that was something that was needed, then yes. Similarly, if we knew of another organisation that was looking for that, we potentially would offer it as a placement. We can sort of set you fictitious tasks if you really want the experience of doing it. We've had people that really want to do grant writing. We've not had any grants on the go that they could work on, but we've kind of made one up and given them what would be a grant application form, and they've been able to sort of have a go at doing them. So we could do that if you were really keen to get some experience in that area. Can apprentices fundraise for the placements? So again, it's not something that we would allow, unfortunately. The money that you fundraise is ring-fenced already for international development programs that we run. But yeah, again, if money is going to be an issue for you to go on a placement but you really want to go, then talk to us and we'll try and work out an action plan.
Can you fundraise for other charities you are passionate about? So your focus of the year would need to be fundraising for Child.org, and the money that you raise from your event and your challenge would go to Child.org. As we said, Child.org invest a huge amount of money in each apprentice, so that's kind of why the course is structured in that way. Yeah,
the skills that you develop will make you a fantastic fundraiser. If then the year after you want to go and run incredibly successful fundraising challenges for other organisations, they will love you, and you'll just get more experience that you can put on your CVs and to help you land your dream career. We don't let you do it on the course simply because we're giving you a free course and we need to make that financially viable. You know, it's unfortunately the way that it works. But if you wanted to do another fundraiser during the year, you 100% can, as long as you're reaching your target for us as well. We're more than happy to support you. And like I said, these skills won't dry up after a year. You'll be able to use them and do more fundraising for other organisations as much as you want.
We've got a few more.
Oh my goodness, so many questions. Are apprentices able to get a reference from child.org/charity apprentice for jobs? Yes. Simple.
For what reasons have previous apprentices applied for the course? Yeah, so it's a really nice mix of people, diverse range. A lot of apprentices are students who they will join the course because they know they want to work in the charity sector and they just want to gain a bit more experience. We've also had apprentices who have been already working for a charity, but again want to build up their skills. And then we have people in their 50s who suddenly decided they want a career change and want to work in charities. So yeah, a real range of people.
Yeah. You can do this course for loads and loads of different reasons, and we try to keep it as broad as possible to make sure that whatever reason you're doing the course, we meet that expectation. Some people just do it because they enjoy it and they want to understand more about how the sector works, and that's just as much of a valid reason as doing it because you're gearing up to try to get your first job in the sector. Both are brilliant reasons to take the course. Can apprentices fundraise as a pair? Yeah, I kind of covered this a minute ago, but yes, you can. It doesn't mean that your target becomes 1,500 between the two of you. You'd still need to raise 1,500 each, but fundraising in a pair and splitting the workload on one event, making it bigger and better, is a brilliant way to very quickly reach your target and gives you a whole load more skills working in a team like that as well. So if you can, 100% go for it, and we'd be happy to support a pair doing a fundraising challenge.
As someone who is changing careers, would you recommend returning to formal education by doing a master's in international development? I would say not necessarily. It kind of depends where you want your career to go. So if you wanted to work in like programming research, you might require an international development master's, but not always. If you're looking to find out where your skills lie in the charity sector, then obviously the course is the best way to do that. I don't think necessarily you need a master's in international development in order to work in international development. Definitely it kind of depends where you want to be.
It's kind of a bit of an age-old myth that to work in this kind of area you need a master's. As Anjali said, for certain courses for certain areas a master's will help. If you want to go into research, master's might help. If you want to go and do programming for Oxfam or British Red Cross, whatever, then a master's in ID might work. I did a master's in human rights and I really didn't enjoy it, and I didn't need to do it. I did get a job with Amnesty International afterwards, but it wasn't because of my master's, it was because of my experience. I wish I hadn't done it. It was a lot of money, it was very stressful, wasn't for me. What I think is best is having a couple of years work, like go into the sector, get some experience, work out what your skills and your strengths are. Your first sort of 2, 3, 4 years in the sector, you go through a whole wave of different experiences, and you're trying to work out, okay, where do I fit here? Where can I make the most impact? What do I think good charity work looks like? And what I found was I applied for a master's before I'd really done all of that thinking, and my master's I went into human rights, but that probably wasn't the master's I should have done, because that didn't really speak to my skill set or my interests when it actually came around to doing it. So generally I say give yourselves a bit of a breather, get into the sector, explore it, talk to people, network, get to know it. Then if you want to do a master's, when you have a better idea as to what you want to specialise in, then do it then.
There's a question for Heather. How do you feel you have acquired the skills to help you work within the charity sector once you've completed teaching? So Heather, I'll just...
I think the way that I gain those skills is definitely the support network you get from child.org, because you have the team you see in front of you that are like the interface of Charity Apprentice, but you also have loads of people in the background that specialise in different things that are always on hand to help if you need it. So I think getting that support really helped me gain those skills. The main skills I think I'm going to need that I have gained for future employment is the variety of things that I can say I can do. So now when I apply to somebody or get an interview or whatever, I can say I understand how social enterprises work. I've been able to run social media for projects and fundraising challenges and events, which are all very different ways of raising money, but it's really good to have skills in all of those areas. I can say that I understand the background to fundraising regulations, and I can also understand the way that you interact with potential donors. So a lot of the course is also focuses on the background stuff that you might not realise you need, but actually is really helpful when it comes to it. So what makes people want to donate and how you can best tap into that and make them feel valued, which is a really important skill to have. So all those background skills are stuff that you wouldn't realise you need, but you get through this course. Also, this seems a little bit superficial, but just the connections is also an incredible skill to have. A lot of charities don't put any money into advertising jobs because they can't afford it, whereas you have here a team of people with great networks that you also meet loads of people through the webinars and stuff throughout the year. So it's a great way to actually find jobs because you can get them through those connections. So yeah, mainly the variety of skills you're able to get that you don't usually get through other networks. Thank you.
Thanks, Heather.
Okay, so this is our final question, I think. Yes? Yeah. Good, because I feel like I've been talking for hours. How many people have applied to the course? Great question. We don't know. So our first review will be on Friday. Angeli and Lucy have blocked it out of their calendars. All of our applications go into a database. We'll access that on Friday and kind of go through and see. I've not been tracking. We kind of get little alerts that come through on our interface when an application comes through. It's been going off a lot because it's distracting me when I'm doing my work, but I haven't counted, so I don't know exactly. I can tell you that the people on our Register Your Interest database was sitting at 9,000. Don't be terrified. That's people that have registered their interest in this course all the way since back to 2015 who haven't applied. So they could have said, oh, I might do that one day, and put their email in, and they get the emails through, but they haven't actually applied. So it includes those people as well as people that have registered interest since the course went live again in September and applications launched in October. So there's a lot of people that potentially could apply. We're expecting, I don't know, around 400, 500 applications, and there's 250 places. The rolling basis helps us to just try to manage that process and means that we're not reading applications and interviewing every second of the day. It means that we can carry on developing a brilliant course for you for 2018 whilst this the application process is going on. Okay, I think that's the end. Thank you very, very much for attending and listening. We hope that you are going to apply. It's a fantastic course, if we say so ourselves, and we have a lot of fun running it. If you've got any more questions, do feel free to get in touch. Go to the charityapprentice.org website and you can find our details on there. We're really looking forward to reading your application, and we hope to welcome you on Charity Apprentice 2018. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.